The text message from my father glowed on my phone screen. Annual company gala tonight. No failures allowed. Don't embarrass us again with your startup stories. I sat in my office, the entire top floor of Morrison Technologies headquarters, reading his message while watching the city lights flicker below. The irony wasn't lost on me. My father, middle management at Richardson Corp, telling the owner of his company's biggest competitor not to embarrass him. My assistant Sarah's voice came through the intercom. Ms. Morrison, the Richardson Corp acquisition paperwork is ready. Once signed, you'll own 100% of your father's company. Perfect timing, I muttered, slipping the documents into my Hermès bag. The one my sister Jane had claimed was obviously fake at last year's gala. Another text from Dad. Jane's being promoted to senior VP tonight. Don't ruin her moment with your presence. Jane, who'd spent the last year bragging about her rise through Richardson Corp's ranks, had no idea that her promotion would last exactly 12 hours, until I announced the acquisition tomorrow morning. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from my CFO. Final valuation. Richardson Corp worth $2.1 billion. Morrison Technologies current value, $48.7 billion. Your net worth just hit $18.2 billion. I smoothed down my simple black dress, a one-of-a-kind piece that cost more than Jane's annual salary, and headed for the elevator. Despite Dad's ban, I had a party to attend. After all, it would be rude for the new owner to miss the announcement of her latest acquisition. Emma, my mother's shocked voice carried across the hotel lobby as I walked in. What are you doing here? Your father specifically said that failures aren't welcome? I finished for her, watching her eyes dart nervously to her country club friends. Don't worry, Mother. I won't stay long. You shouldn't be here at all, Jane hissed, appearing in her designer dress, paid for by the company I was about to own. This is my night. My promotion. Not another chance for you to embarrass us with your little tech dreams. My little tech dreams had revolutionized 3 industries and made me the youngest self-made billionaire in the country. But Jane didn't need to know that. Not yet. Ms. Morrison, Sarah's voice came through my earpiece. Richardson Corp's CEO is approaching. He's ready to announce the acquisition. I watched my father holding court near the bar, probably bragging about Jane's promotion. He had no idea that his entire career, his precious position, his corporate pride was about to belong to his failure daughter. Still running that app company? My mother's friend Mrs. Richardson smirked. You know, real success requires more than just playing with computers. I thought about the meeting I'd had yesterday with her husband, Richardson Corp CEO, where he'd signed over his family's company to mine. You're right, Mrs. Richardson. Sometimes it requires a merger. A merger. Jane laughed loudly. Please. Richardson Corp only merges with serious companies. Not whatever little startup you're playing with. My phone buzzed. Stock certificates transferred. You now own 100% of Richardson Corp shares. Announcement scheduled for CEO's speech. Emma, my father appeared, his face darkening. I thought I made it clear you weren't welcome. This is a celebration of real success, not your Silicon Valley fantasies. Real success. Like the empire I'd built while they mocked my app company. Like the billions I'd earned while they dismissed my tech dreams. Ms. Morrison, Sarah's voice interrupted. Everything's in place. CEO Stevens is ready to make the announcement. I watched as Richardson Corp CEO approached the podium, carrying the future of my father's career in his hands. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success they never saw coming. Dad grabbed my arm, whispering harshly, "Leave. No. Before you embarrass us again." Actually, I smiled, checking my watch. I think I'll stay for the CEO's speech. You wouldn't want me to miss my own announcement, would you? Your announcement? Jane scoffed. The only announcement tonight is my promotion to Senior VP. I straightened my dress, thinking about how quickly Senior VP could become unemployed. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO Stevens' voice boomed through the ballroom. I have an important announcement about the future of Richardson Corp. The crystal glasses clinked as CEO Stevens cleared his throat. My father beamed proudly, no doubt expecting another glowing mention of Jane's promotion. If he only knew what was coming. Tonight marks a historic moment for Richardson Corp, Stevens continued. After 40 years as an independent company, we're entering a new era through a merger with one of the most innovative technology companies in the world. My mother's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. Jane's smug smile faltered slightly. "What merger?" my father whispered to his colleagues. "I'm in middle management. I should have heard about this." "Ms. Morrison," Sarah's voice came through my earpiece. "Stock markets in Asia are opening. Should I proceed with the announcement there as well?" "Yes," I murmured, watching my family's confusion with carefully concealed satisfaction. "Richardson Corp," Stevens announced, "will be joining the Morrison Technologies family of companies, effective immediately." The ballroom erupted in murmurs. I could see Jane frantically typing on her phone, probably searching for news about Morrison Technologies. She'd find plenty about our market dominance, our technological innovations, and our mysterious founder who'd never appeared in public. Till now. "This merger," Stevens continued, "represents a $2.1 billion acquisition by Morrison Technologies, bringing our combined market value to over $50 billion. Billion. My mother choked on her champagne. "But who owns Morrison Technologies?" someone called out. Stevens smiled, his eyes finding mine in the crowd. "I'd like to introduce you to our new owner, the founder and CEO of Morrison Technologies." "This is ridiculous," my father scoffed. "Some tech company thinking they can just walk in and—" "Miss Emma Morrison," Stevens finished, extending his hand toward me. The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel hundreds of eyes turning to stare at me. The failure daughter, the one who'd been banned from this very party hours earlier. That's impossible," Jane stammered, her perfectly manicured hand shaking as she gripped her phone. "Emma runs a small app company. She works out of a shared office space. That shared office space was actually our first research and development center," I said, walking toward the podium. "It's where we developed the technology that's now worth $48.7 billion. But you can't be." My mother sputtered. "The owner of Morrison Technologies?" I smiled. "The company that just bought Richardson Corp? Actually, I am." My father's face had turned an interesting shade of pale. You bought my company?" "Technically, I bought everyone's company," I corrected him, including Jane's new position as senior VP. Jane's promotion announcement card slipped from her fingers, floating to the floor like her corporate dreams. "Ms. Morrison," Sarah's voice interrupted, "Asian markets are responding. Morrison Technologies stock just jumped 12% on the acquisition news." I watched as my father's colleagues, the same ones who'd dismissed me as his unsuccessful daughter, began frantically pulling out their phones, no doubt looking up my net worth. "Your little app company," my mother whispered, "built the operating system that runs most of the world's major corporations," I finished for her, "including Richardson Corp for the past year. You just didn't know it." The room buzzed with shocked conversations. I could see Mrs. Richardson nearly faint as she realized her family's company now belonged to the young woman she'd mocked minutes earlier. "Now then," I turned to Stevens, "shall we discuss the reorganization plans?" "Of course, Ms. Morrison," he nodded, shooting an apologetic glance at my father. "Though some positions will naturally be eliminated." "Speaking of positions," I continued, pulling out a folder from my bag, "let's discuss the new organizational structure." Jane stepped forward, her confidence somehow still intact. Obviously, as the new senior VP, I should be involved in these discussions. "About that promotion," I smiled, opening the folder. "I'm afraid there's been a change of plans." My father finally found his voice. "Now see here, Emma. Just because you've had some success with your technology doesn't mean you can just walk in and—" "Actually, it does," Stevens interrupted gently. "Ms. Morrison now owns 100% of Richardson Corporation. All staffing decisions are entirely at her discretion." The color drained from Jane's face as the reality of her situation began to sink in. But my promotion was approved by the old management," I finished for her. "The same management that thought a small app company wasn't worth their attention." My phone buzzed again. "Ms. Morrison, worldwide markets are responding to the acquisition. Your net worth has increased to $19.1 billion. "Billion," my mother whispered, grabbing the nearest chair for support. Emma has billions? Had billions, I corrected her. For quite some time now. Remember last Christmas when you said I couldn't afford to contribute to the family vacation house? I actually owned the entire resort. The ballroom had become eerily quiet, everyone straining to hear our conversation. These were the same people who'd whispered about my failed career at every company event, who'd smiled condescendingly at my tech dreams. Mr. Chin, I called out to our HR director who materialized instantly at my side. Please distribute the new organizational charts. As tablets were quickly passed around, I watched the blood drain from my father's face as he scrolled through the document. His own name was conspicuously absent from the new management structure. This is outrageous, he sputtered. I've been with Richardson Corp for 25 years. And in that time, I noted, you never once bothered to learn what your failure daughter actually did for a living. Interesting management style. Jane was frantically swiping through the org chart. My name isn't here either. This has to be a mistake. No mistake, I replied calmly. Morrison Technologies has a strict policy against nepotism. We believe in hiring based on merit, not family connections. Though you're welcome to apply for an entry-level position. Entry-level? Jane screeched. I'm a senior VP. For approximately. I checked my watch, 8 more minutes. Then the new management structure takes effect. My mother stepped forward, her social survival instincts kicking in. Darling, surely we can discuss this as a family. Perhaps over dinner at the country club. The country club I bought last month? I raised an eyebrow. The one that rejected my membership application last year for being insufficiently accomplished? The silence that followed was delicious. Ms. Morrison, Sarah's voice came through my earpiece. The private jet is ready for your Tokyo meeting tomorrow. Thank you, Sarah, I replied loud enough for everyone to hear. Please ensure my father's security clearance is revoked by midnight. We wouldn't want any awkward situations during tomorrow's transition. My security clearance? My father's voice cracked. But how will I get into the building? You won't, I smiled. That's rather the point of being terminated. The next few minutes unfolded like a carefully orchestrated symphony of chaos. Security teams in Morrison Technologies uniforms began appearing at every entrance, their earpieces glinting under the chandeliers. Protocol Echo is in effect, my head of security announced through my earpiece. All Richardson Corp systems now transferred to Morrison Technologies control. I watched as my father's company phone, the one he'd used to text his rejection hours earlier, went dark in his hand. All Richardson Corp devices were being remotely wiped and reconfigured. What's happening? Jane demanded, shaking her now useless phone. All my files, my contacts. Company property, I explained softly. And the company now belongs to me. My mother, ever the social butterfly, was already trying to salvage the situation. Emma, darling, you must understand how proud we are. All this success. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you. I turned to her, keeping my voice level. Like when I tried to tell you about my first patent and you said I was playing with computers instead of finding a real career. Or perhaps when I attempted to explain my company's IPO, and you told your friends I was still figuring things out? Stevens cleared his throat. Ms. Morrison, shall we proceed with the formal announcement? Of course, I nodded, stepping toward the podium. But my father blocked my path. You can't do this, he hissed. 25 years of my life in this company. Your sister's career. Our reputation. Your reputation? I laughed softly. Let's talk about reputation, father. Let's discuss how you've spent years telling everyone that your daughter was a disappointment, a failure, someone who couldn't even afford a proper office. My phone buzzed again. Ms. Morrison, your net worth just updated to $19.8 billion with the Asian market's response. Do you know what I was doing in that proper office you mocked? I continued. Building the technology that now powers 60% of global corporate infrastructure. Including the systems that ran your company, though you were too busy bragging about Jane's promotion to notice. Jane stepped forward, her mascara slightly smeared. But all my work, my connections, were built on a foundation of nepotism and privilege, I finished for her. Tell me, Jane, did you ever wonder how you got that corner office last year? The one with the randomly assigned security code that matched your birthday. Her face paled. You arranged that? I arranged everything. Every lucky break. Every coincidence that helped your career. I wanted to see if you'd ever acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, your failure sister might be more than what our parents claimed. Ms. Morrison, Sarah's voice interrupted, the board members are requesting an emergency meeting to discuss the transition. Speaking of transition, I turned to the crowd. Let me officially welcome Richardson Corp employees to the Morrison Technologies family. Well, most of you. My father's hands were shaking. Most of us. Unfortunately, our analysis shows significant redundancy in middle management positions. I smiled. Particularly in departments known for, how did you put it in your text? Yes, failures. The security teams were moving now, efficiently collecting company devices and access cards from selected employees, starting with my father's executive floor colleagues. You'll find your severance packages quite generous, I continued. More generous than the way you treated the app developer you dismissed all these years. My mother made one last attempt. But family should stick together. Surely you wouldn't. Family. I cut her off. Like when you stuck together to ban me from this party. Or when you stuck together to mock my career at every holiday dinner. I pulled out my phone, showing them the text message from earlier. No failures allowed. Well, father, I smiled. It seems you got your wish. No failures at this party. Just the owner of a $50 billion technology empire who happened to buy your company. The room was dead silent now, watching this family drama unfold like a corporate Shakespeare play. Ms. Morrison, Stevens approached with a stack of papers. The final transfer documents require your signature. I took the pen, a Mont Blanc that cost more than my father's monthly salary, and signed with deliberate strokes. Each signature stripped away another layer of their corporate facade. One last thing, I said, turning back to my family. That vacation house you didn't think I could afford to contribute to? Check your email. I bought the entire development last week. The Residents Association has some new rules about, what was it you called me? Yes, embarrassing failures. The look on their faces was worth every billion. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gathered my things. I have a board meeting in Tokyo tomorrow. Sarah, please ensure my father's office is cleared by morning. And Jane. She looked up, mascara now definitely running.